Welcome, everyone. I'm Dr. Karen, and you are in the right place if this is the webinar you signed up for, Scale Stuck, the 3 hidden causes of fatigue, bloating, and weight gain. So this is a very personal webinar for me, and I've been doing this work for a long time. I've been a health coach since year 2000, so that would be 25 years. And before that, I was a medical doctor, and I switched over to health coaching because I love the health education component of health coaching and the action-driven excitement of health coaching rather than me telling people what to do. Health coaching allows me to ask a lot of questions and for you to find the perfect right place for you. So none of what I'm talking about tonight is meant to be do this, don't do that. It is a lot about my personal journey and a lot about working with clients in the 3 absolute biggest hidden causes of weight gain and bloating and fatigue that often get overlooked in the Western medical model. And I loved all the questions that came in for the webinar when I asked you what questions you have. A lot of people were saying you're eating right and exercising, but the scale won't budge. Or constant fatigue drains your motivation, or bloating makes you feel uncomfortable and frustrated. And specifically, when you registered for the webinar and I asked, do you have any questions? It helps me formulate the kind of direction I take for the webinar. So people talked about metabolic syndrome and how to heal it. And what that is blood sugars getting unbalanced, getting into pre-diabetes before diabetes. That's metabolic syndrome. And how to improve my gut health without eating too many fermented foods. I thought that was a great question. I don't like fermented foods. Can I still have good gut health? Well, yes, you can. So I'll talk about that. And how do I reduce my sugar cravings? My gosh, sugar is this addictive substance and it's driving me crazy. And what foods are best for my diabetic lifestyle? Perfect question. All of these I get to address with you tonight. And please discuss menopausal weight gain and how to combat it. Now, menopause is one day in a woman's life, which is the cessation of menses for a whole 12 months. And everything after that is postmenopause, and everything before that is premenopause or perimenopause. And I am in my postmenopausal years, and the last 3 months I've released 12 pounds, so it's all very possible. And I'm going to talk to you about that journey, as I said, a very personal journey for me. And what's the best way to clear inflammation from the body? Yes, great question. And I eat less and exercise, but I stay exactly the same weight. Why? And I can't seem to lose weight after gaining 10 pounds. So all of these things we will address. And I'm here to tell you there's no one right way for anyone. So I'm going to offer you a variety of options. And you listen to your own deep inner knowing and you decide what is your best first step. So I'm going to ask you tonight to think differently because we have been brainwashed to think that the number on the scale decides our worth as women. And we need to make a shift in that. And it's not easy. But I'm going to help you expand your understanding of that. So why solutions don't work is that diets ignore the root cause. And those are the 3 big BIG. This is something you will never forget. I'm going to teach you BIG, the 3 big causes, and the quick fixes that's rebound weight gain. Now, don't get to me talking about GLP-1 injections. I could spend hours talking about that. And I have done webinars on that. I'm more than happy to send you recordings if you're interested in understanding about the GLP-1 injections. And I'm not for or against them. It's a personal decision. But what I am against is any quick fix that does not require lifestyle change. So lifestyle change and commitment to our health is the number one factor to find our natural normal weight and to be as healthy as possible. And some people undereat, and that's the biggest mistake of all because you slow down your eating, so your metabolism slows down. You can actually gain weight from eating less. Yes. And missing the inflammation craving connection. So weight is not just about calories, it's about your internal environment. And Louis Pasteur, who is the founder of the microbe, he said it when he discovered bacteria. The microbe is nothing. The terrain is everything. It's our internal environment. It's our lifestyle. It's how our whole body operates. It's not just about calories. And just calories is just a teeny piece of the equation. In fact, I don't count calories, and I don't have my clients count calories. We look at a completely different way of thinking about nourishing our body. So I said this is a very personal journey because this is so those of you who know me, maybe you've never seen this picture, but in 2005, which I'm telling you is 20 years ago, that's me on the left. And that picture was taken Labor Day weekend, which happened to be last weekend. And I am proof that you can find that natural, healthy weight. That does not mean a scale number. It means feeling good in your body. It means being able to move your body, being able to play with my grandkids, and being as healthy as possible. In fact, probably healthier than I was 20 years ago. So it is possible. And I'm happy to share my journey with you. And everything I'm talking about tonight is the things that I have applied. So I love this quote. I just found this the other day. Working to be skinny is discouraging. This is not about being skinny. In fact, I have a motto that strong is the new skinny. And working to be healthy is empowering. And that's me doing boot camp a couple of weeks ago. And I want to be strong. I want to be healthy. I want to feel good in my body. I want to feel powerful. And it's not about a number on a scale. So we are going to rethink that. So why the scale lies? Weight alone doesn't tell the whole story. So even though this webinar says scale stuck, because that's what a lot of people get frustrated with, the number on the scale. What I want to know is what your skeletal muscle is and your body fat. They're numbers that are way more important to me than a number on a scale. Because as you all know, I don't have to tell you, you can get on the scale this morning and you can get on scale tomorrow morning, and it can be 5 pounds different, depending on how much you drank, how much you pooped, how stressed you are, how much you slept or didn't sleep. It's all factor because it's all about the terrain of our body. So we get very misled by the scale. So what I want to know is skeletal muscle versus body fat, and water retention and inflammation. These can all mask the process. So I use a different scale when I'm working with my clients. I have them get a scale that gives me all kinds of biometrics that are way more important than the number on the scale. So you'll see down here, if you look at the very bottom, and I'm not giving you a scale weight because that's not what I'm most focused on. This is a trend, May, June, July, August. This is a 4-month trend for me because I went to I did a program in the end of May, and I have been following very diligently. And so my scale weight, my skeletal muscle went up, 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 up. That's what you want. Now it takes a bit of a dip, but then it goes up again. It's on an upward trend. And my body fat percentage went down. And you'll see down here, weight, BMI, I'm not interested in BMI, not a good measurement. Body fat, skeletal muscle, fat-free mass. This scale, which does not cost very much, like $20, is such a good indicator, especially as women. We want to build skeletal muscle. And this is, in fact, muscle is one of the biggest indicators of longevity and health than anything else. And again, tonight I'm giving you just some ideas, ways to think differently. And you can work with me one-on-one. You can do one of my programs, like whatever is right for you. But I want you to think differently about this and how possible it is. I did have 10 pounds that I just felt like I could never budge until I followed this plan that I'm teaching you tonight. So how it all started is I went to a 7-day detox program in Rosarito, Mexico. It's a functional medicine hospital very close to the border, and it's called Sonavive Medical Institute. And it was a 7-day retreat. They do blood. This is me having blood work. They do functional blood work to see where you are. My kidney function tests weren't great, so I was really focused on my kidneys. And then I went through a whole program. This is infrared sauna. And my gut program that I have is modeled exactly on this Sonavive 7-day retreat, so that you don't have to go to Mexico to a 7-day retreat. You can do my detox and rejuvenation program because it follows very closely with the principles, which is gluten-free, soy-free, dairy-free, and focused on gut health. So this is where it started for me in May. And I think my kidneys were a wake-up call for me to follow a very anti-inflammatory lifestyle, and even more so than usual because I normally eat healthy, but I had to really hone in even further. And this is what it's called, detox and rejuvenation program. It's just a beautiful place. So that's where it started for me. And here are my 3 big hidden causes of the scale being stuck. And this big BIG, I made this word so that you'll never forget. And by the way, welcome to everybody. I haven't checked in. Oh, hi, Barbara. Yay. And Beth and Beverly and Lynn. Hi, Lynn. Yay. I just wanted to check. And Raj, Rena, and Ankita. I just wanted to check who was jumped in because I don't always see on my webinars. So you came in a good time to learn my BIG. This is thing I don't want you ever to forget, the BIG. And here they are: blood sugar fluctuations, inflammation, and gut health imbalances. These, of all the things that you can do, are the things to focus on. And as I said at the beginning of the webinar, everybody is a little different. It's so important to personalize this, which is why, yes, I have digital programs, but I work very closely with tailoring those digital programs to specific individuals, because some people might have a gluten sensitivity, some people might have a dairy sensitivity, some people might have an egg sensitivity, which I didn't realize, and yes, I found out I had. So we tweak it. So even though I've got these 3 that are very important for everyone, we can still work within it. So let's look. I'm going to walk through each of these. So how do blood sugar fluctuations affect fatigue and bloating and weight gain? And I thought that was just for diabetes. Well, in the Western medical model, we talk about disease all the time, diabetes. I'm more interested from a health coach perspective in pre-diabetes and what is happening with your blood sugar ranges, that fasting blood sugar over 100. Now, David Perlmutter, who is a functional neurologist, wrote a book called Grain Brain. And he was one of the first ones that taught me that fasting blood sugar above 100 is affecting our brain fog, memory loss, and affecting our fatigue and affecting our weight. So Western medicine wouldn't even pay attention to that, because diabetes happens at a fasting blood sugar of 125. But between 110 and 125, where nobody is really paying attention, things are happening in the body. And it's creating inflammation, it's creating bloating and weight gain and joint issues and brain fog. So I like to know what your blood sugars are doing. And so you'll see I have my clients actually buy a glucometer, even though I'm not talking about diabetes. I want to know what your blood sugar is in the morning and when you wake up and after you eat, like different times of the day. So blood sugar likes to stay in a fairly normal range. When your blood sugar spikes up, like you have orange juice or high sugar fruit, your blood sugar goes up and insulin comes out. Insulin is a fat storage hormone, is also very pro-inflammatory to the body. And insulin's role is to drop your blood sugar down. But then what happens is it's too low. So the body's under stress. So the hormone cortisol comes out, and cortisol makes blood sugar. So up goes your blood sugar again. And then the cycle continues. And most people, this is what's happening all day, up and down and up and down. And they wonder why they have weight gain, especially around the middle, and they have fatigue and joint issues, because from a blood sugar and an insulin perspective and a cortisol perspective, it's very damaging to the body. So for a lot of people, our brain is hijacked. And You know, a lot of people say to me, oh, but I don't eat sugar. But they eat pizza and burgers and fried foods and onion rings. They don't call this sugar, but these are some of the worst sugars you can have: fried, processed sugar and fat. And our brain becomes addicted. And you know that the food industry wants this to happen because it means we buy more. So people are amazed that I don't like or eat pizza. No, no desire. Very little food value in pizza. And I just don't. Since I've removed the craving side for me, because that was part for me, is that I am addicted to sugar. And I have a bigger response to sugar so that it gives me more pleasure and it also creates more cravings. So since I've regulated my blood sugar, I just don't have a desire for it. So I personally don't eat bread, I don't eat pizza, I don't eat rice, and I don't want it. That doesn't mean you don't have to, but we have to find that perfect right balance for your blood sugar and for your desired results. Because a lot of us, our brain is hijacked in a craving mode. And look at these are PET scans, a brain with excess sugar and a brain with cocaine. As you can see, without even having to know any of the details, very similar parts of the brain light up. Sugar is addictive. And one of my favorite authors on this is Kathleen de Maison, who wrote the book Beyond Prozac. And she just talked about in Potatoes Not Prozac. Potatoes Not Prozac is the name of her book. And she talks about sugar addiction and how real it is. And we just don't talk about that much. So, and if that is something that you are dealing with, that's the first step to healing, is getting over the cravings. So stable blood sugar is the answer in our first of the three big BIG, blood sugar. So, and it's not that we don't need carbs, because our body needs carbs. It's just the right amount of carbs. I make cauliflower rice. I love eggplant. I have fruit with some protein. We have carbohydrates. We need carbohydrates, but it's the spiking that creates inflammation and excess insulin. And carbs are not are bad, they're the kind and the amount. So an example is orange juice and a bagel. So orange juice spikes up the blood sugar. Up it goes, first thing in the morning. And insulin then is secreted to bring the blood sugar back to normal. But then it gets too low and cortisol is secreted. So these two hormones, insulin and cortisol, wreak havoc to our body in so many ways. So our first job is to stabilize blood sugar and not do this up and down and up and down. And so if this is you, that's the first thing I do with my clients is I look at their eating plan, look at what they're eating, and we identify what might be creating the spikes and try and stabilize the blood sugar. So and eating foods that they can enjoy that don't spike. And then if you have a body and a brain that is very sensitive to sugar, as I have said I am, then we have a bigger response to the sugar. So our spikes go higher and our insulin response is bigger, and insulin stores fat. And nobody told us that sugar is actually one of the culprits of storing fat. Yes. And particularly refined sugars and ultra processed foods. I actually had to remove. There was one food that I knew better, and I'd be very transparent with you. The Quest chips, a little bag of Quest chips, and they had 15 grams of protein. So I thought, whoa, I can eat chips and I can get 15 grams of protein, because I wanted more than 100 grams of protein a day, because that's what everybody said, we need more protein. And it was those darn chips that were so tough on my kidneys, that were ultra processed, that were creating a lot of inflammation. And I removed them completely. And along with doing some other things like intermittent fasting, and it made a huge difference. So sometimes it's just pinpointing something, a food that you think, well, it might be okay for me, but doing a trial to see what it is that you need to remove. And then reading labels. So you gotta be such a good consumer. See, this says organic green tea. And you think, oh, that's good for me. Then you turn over and you look at this is one serving, 12 fluid ounces, 30 grams of total carbohydrates, which are all sugars and no protein. So this is like putting a needle in your vein and injecting sugar, and up goes the blood sugar and out comes the insulin. So 30 grams of carbohydrates is unopposed by it. There's no fat and there's no protein. So I teach my clients to read labels really well so that there's a balance of fat and carbohydrates and protein and hopefully some fiber. And that stabilizes blood sugar. So once you start understanding labels and reading labels correctly, then it's a huge benefit to you. So this is what I will leave you with, the first of the big blood sugar ideal markers, because nobody tells you this. So when you go and have labs done, your fasting glucose, that's your overnight fast, set between 75 and 85. And that tells me that good, you've got a good glucose control. However, I probably also want to know what your insulin is, so that your insulin isn't so high, trying to keep that glucose down. So I would add insulin to this little list, fasting insulin. Hemoglobin A1C, which is often not done if you're not a diabetic, between 4.5 and 5. This tells me your average blood sugar over the previous 3 months. It's a very important marker so that I know what your blood sugar levels have been doing over the previous 3 months. And you need to ask for this test, and you need to ask whoever orders it to code it correctly so that you can have it paid for. Otherwise, you need to use a direct lab or something that has less expensive testing than some of the big labs. Triglycerides, which you think is actually under body fats, but it has everything to do with blood sugar, between 50 and 80. And feel free to take a little picture of this so that you can read your labs and you can compare your labs to these numbers. Oh, it is. I did put insulin. Of course I did. Here's your fasting insulin number between 2 and 5. So I want to know all of these, and I have my clients order those on whenever the next lab is, so that we can really look at biomarkers and I can take a deep dive into seeing what your blood sugar control is. And doctors don't do this. You only really do this if you have diabetes. And why would we wait to have diabetes? We want to look at your blood numbers now in true prevention. And this is a little glucometer. I get most of my clients to get one of these glucometers so you can look at your blood sugar throughout the day. Okay, are you ready? Let's see. I'm looking at the chat. See if there's any questions. Oh, don't see any questions yet. All right, and everyone's still with me. Fabulous. So the second of the three, the I in big, is inflammation. So we use this word a lot. Acute inflammation is very different than chronic. Acute inflammation is when you cut yourself and your immune system heals it, and it has a very important role, and then it's over. That's not what I'm talking about. Chronic inflammation, the kind of inflammation from too much insulin over and over and over, and the blood vessel walls start to get inflamed and the cells start to atrophy. This chronic inflammation, this is one of the biggest causes of a change in your microbiome and weight gain and joint issues. So here, and you can certainly take a picture of this. This is where I start with my clients. This is from my Gut Matters ebook, that are the things that we want to remove. Because in the functional medicine or functional health world, there are 4 R's of functional health. Remove the things that are creating the inflammation, replace digestive enzymes and some of the nutrients that we're deficient in, re-inoculate with probiotics and probiotic-rich foods, and repair or reset the body. So in the remove, refined sugars, gluten, very pro-inflammatory, certainly in the United States. You can go to Italy and eat pasta and have no problems because it's a very different form pasta. It's not as processed. But here in the United States, it's very processed. Wheat, dairy, alcohol, caffeine, processed foods, refined white foods, genetically modified foods, colorings, additives, preservatives. These all create a lot of inflammation in the body. Fried foods and Don't forget our skincare products. What we put on our skin gets absorbed into our body, and a lot of skincare products have a lot of preservatives and chemicals and parabens. So these are all things we want to look at. And that's why being a health coach takes a few sessions, because we've got to dig into your lifestyle. And doctors don't have time to do that, which is one of the reasons that I left clinical medicine and really now focus on really working with people one-on-one. So this is a really good slide that some of the basic principles of an anti-inflammatory lifestyle, avoiding foods that block the detoxification pathways or cause inflammation. So eat clean. Everyone tells you that. Well, organic. So look at the Clean 15 if you want to choose the fruits and vegetables to buy organically. The Clean 15, which is the Environmental Working Group, EWG. I wrote a blog recently about that. Focus on those ones. Non-GMO, grass-fed, pasture-raised, wild. I'm sure all of you know this. If you're part of my community, you're exposed to this. Or eat whole food. And this was one of the biggest messages that I got from being at Sonavive. They make all their own food, and it's all fresh, whole food, WHOLE, no processed food. And it's amazing when you, of course, someone else prepares it for you, which is wonderful. And it's amazing how quickly you feel better when you just eat all foods in their natural state, all low glycemic, of course, high in fiber, and included in healthy fats. I was reading an article actually yesterday about this. A lot of this high in fiber, there's this in the nutrition world, we talk about fiber a lot, and a lot of food companies are adding more fiber into their processed foods and saying it's high fiber. That is not the same. In fact, that can be dangerous because you've got a processed food, you're adding a ton of fiber in there, and it can put out your microbiome. So the way to eat fiber is foods in their natural state, whole fruits and vegetables. So this is just a good basic slide about inflammation and an anti-inflammatory lifestyle and eating from the rainbow. It still stands. We've been talking about this forever, but all the different colors of the rainbows represent different antioxidants and minerals and vitamins. So you want a variety, and a variety is what feeds your microbiome. So I think the next slide, to make it really simple, foods to include and foods to eliminate. Now, again, as I said, everybody's different. If you're a vegetarian, you probably won't be having beef broth. You might be having clean vegetarian broth. So you want to kind of adjust this according to your particular needs. Protein powders. So if you're a vegan, you might have pea or chickpea protein. So protein powders that are clean, very clean, with very few ingredients. Eggs, if eggs are okay, I've gone to egg whites myself. Seeds, vegetables, low glycemic fruits. And what you want to eliminate, anything in a canned foods, processed foods, dairy products, cheese. I used to eat more cheese. Now I've reduced cheese a lot. Alcohol and sodas, sugar substitutes, nightshades if you have autoimmune. So that's just a nice little guide to an anti-inflammatory lifestyle. And then eliminate high sugar fruits. So when I have someone do my phase 1, which is the sugar detox, we don't have any fruit. I eliminate all fruit because fruit can create spikes in your blood sugar. But just be aware long term, someone asked me, well, how do I maintain when I'm at the weight I want to be? How do I maintain that? You want to really be careful of high sugar fruits, bananas, canned fruits, mangoes, pineapples, watermelon. These are high in sugar. They're higher in sugar. They'll spike your blood sugar. And if you do have fruit, make sure you have a protein with it. And then no grains, no gluten-containing grains. So all of these grains, I know the big thing, overnight oats, lots of sugar. And that, it doesn't stop there. Look at this down the bottom here. So the condiments that we use, the ketchup, the barbecue sauce, the emulsifiers, the salad dressings, these all have chemicals in them that can create inflammation, which then sets up this weight gain bloating cycle. So if you focus just on whole foods, real foods, then you can release a lot of that inflammation. So when people do my program in the first week, they might release 5 pounds. Well, that 5 pounds is a lot of inflammation, which is a good thing. That's just the beginning of the journey for the body to find its natural, normal state away from all these chemicals and preservatives. Okay, so we did blood sugar fluctuations, we did inflammation. So the third one in big is gut health imbalances. And I hope you will always remember the BIG. There's one thing I want you to take away from this webinar is, okay, big, blood sugar fluctuations, inflammation, gut health imbalances. Okay, that's what I want to focus on. And you know I love talking about the gut because the gut is a barometer of overall emotional and physical health, and it impacts everything. And we even know more about the gut these days because of the microbiome and how your gut bacteria, these bacteria and viruses and fungi that outnumber our human cells, affect metabolism and inflammation and mood, everything. And what throws off this microbiome? Excess antibiotics, ultra processed foods. This ultra processed foods, one of the big reasons that US Americans are getting bigger and bigger and bigger is all the processed foods. The body does not know how to handle fake foods. So it just sets up this inflammation as if it's a foreign invader. And of course, chronic stress, that hormone cortisol, it'll do it every time. And so signs that your gut's out of balance is weight gain and bloating and irregular stool and food sensitivities and skin issues, because the skin is the largest organ of the body. And then if you don't fix your gut, it'll show up as diseases of all kinds, depending on your unique genetic makeup, family history, like the whole terrain of your specific body. So look at the variations of these diagnoses, from fibromyalgia, a lot of these are autoimmune conditions, of course, to heart issues, myocarditis, schizophrenia, psychiatric issues, asthma and allergies, skin rashes. The gut's where it's happening, folks. So we need to clean up the gut. I love to talk about leaky gut. So leaky gut is in the small intestine, not the other end, small intestine. And the small intestine is 1 cell thick, and this is the 1 cell. And it forms a barrier. These interstitial cells have to be tight, 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 so that things like undigested food and pathogens, which we're taking in all the time, and toxins and GMOs don't get into our bloodstream here. But over time, from stress and anxiety and pathogens we take in and eating processed foods, these cells become loose. And so things get into our bloodstream that we don't want in there, and that sets up inflammation, which is the beginning of autoimmune conditions. Now, sometimes with my clients that have severe leaky gut, and you don't need a test for leaky gut, you can tell from your stool. I do have, and I even brought it here, I prescribe this, it's called GI Revive. It's a powder that I have them use for 30 days straight, and it has all kinds of amazing things. This is actually practitioner only, and what it does is it's actually called a GI permeability support. So it helps close up this lining, and you just drink it. It tastes fine every day for 30 days, so I can see if it's helpful. So if you're interested in knowing more about this, if leaky gut's a thing that someone says you've had, or if you have an autoimmune condition and nobody's talked about leaky gut, because those two things go hand in hand, I'm happy to talk to you about this GI Revive. Now, this is how I can tell how your gut is working. So this is called the Bristol stool chart. Ideally, type 4 is the ideal. So I have a question about lentils. I'll come back to that. So type 4, this ideal stool, like a overripe banana, soft, mushy, comes out easy. This is what we want. And we want this a couple of times a day, but at least once a day. And anything This end is more constipation. Anything this end is more liquid diarrhea. Now, people with liquidy diarrhea more likely to have a leaky gut thing going on because the food's not being digested. It's leaky, so you're just not, the food's coming in and it's going out. So this is when I usually recommend the GI Revive here. But that doesn't mean that if you have constipation that you don't also have leaky gut. So hard, craggy lumps, hard to come out. So that's the first thing we really have to talk about is what your poop is like. Got to talk about that so that I can get an idea of how your gut is working. These are all the things that affect our gut, antibiotics, over-the-counter meds, sodas, artificial sweeteners of all kinds. As stevia is one of my favorites if it's a pure stevia because it comes from a plant, but all these in a packet of chemicals and don't like, your gut doesn't like. And all of these things are detergents and things we use in the household. Don't forget, all of these are affecting us too, and wheat and gluten. So many things that are affecting our gut that we can start removing. And then, of course, we've got to talk about the microbiome, all these microbes living inside of us, because there are good and there are bad bacteria. We want a diversity of it. And if we don't have a good, diverse microbiome, it can affect our body weight, our blood sugar control. Do you see a pattern here? Our appetite, our mood, our thinking, our immune status, our stress, sleep, joint health, everything. So even though I've got BIG, blood sugar, inflammation, gut health, they're all intertwined as well. And there's one very important common denominator, which is eating whole, healthy food, WHOLE. I love this one, the superheroes. We've really got to feed our microbiome. If we feed our microbiome this, look what happens to our body. If we feed our microbiome this, look what happens to our body. So look at all of these green colors and look at this, which does something very different to our body. So our microbiome is so important. Okay, so what can I do? What can I do? So let's get down to it. Let's get down to it. I'm going to give you the things I do with my clients and the things I have done in my life. And then you can decide if it's something that you feel is helpful for you. The first thing, if you remember in going through all of these, if you're in a craving state and you feel kind of out of control, the first thing we have to do is remove the cravings. And then when we've removed the cravings, then you'll be more open to learning how to eat these amazingly healthy whole foods, gluten-free, soy-free, dairy-free. And then you move into the detox and renew program. So this is me in 2005. And this is when I discovered that I had this sugar addiction and that sugar wasn't just a substance to me, it was an addictive substance. And I had to learn that even fruits could be potentially addictive to me. So I did the sugar cleanse. And many of you know I've been doing this for many years. I do groups because I'm so passionate about helping people get off the sugar roller coaster and coming and getting rid of cravings. Because after 5 days, you get rid of cravings. And yes, it's a fairly strict protocol we follow, but my goal is to get you out of the craving mode. So then we can go to phase 2, which is how to really start following a lifestyle that's ongoing. But first of all, we got to get rid of the cravings. And that's the reset and release program. And I have a 5-day jump start. And my next group starts September 15th. So if this is you, you feel like you're in this craving mode, talk to whoever invited you, and they will let you know how to join this next group. It's kind of nice doing it with a group because everybody's in the same boat, or maybe you've done it before and you want to do it again. You've said, oh, she hasn't done a group for a while, and I haven't. So this is September 15th. It's a simple approach. You take a clean break from eating unhealthy foods to jumpstart your eating habits. And we do this little quiz at the beginning where you evaluate all your symptoms, because everything I've talked about tonight affects your head, your mind, your eyes, your nasal congestion, your nose, your ears, your mouth and your throat, chronic cough, your heart, your lungs, skin. Inflammation affects everything. And blood sugar imbalances with all the hormones associated with it affects everything. So we do a little pre-quiz and then we repeat this at the end of the 5 days. I use this same one with all of my programs. It's a way to evaluate objectively how you're doing. And so this is the next one, September 15th. It stabilizes your blood sugar, you release inflammation, and you support a healthy gut. And there, if you want to know more about it, you can just go to, actually, let me escape from here and I will put this in the chat. I think I've got on my website just a little description of it. So again, you go back to whoever invited you on the webinar to be able to learn more about it, but that little website there will tell you more about the program itself in case you have questions. Okay, so I'm doing a live Zoom call next Wednesday as an introduction to my September 15th group. There's email coaching and handouts. You have your own health coach. It's a private Facebook group, lots of recipes. You're not alone. There's so many resources to get you through the 5 days. And I've done this many times myself. I usually do it once a year to just kind of reset my body. And it's a fabulous thing to have. So reset stands for rebooting your metabolism, eliminating inflammatory triggers that we talked about, stabilizing your blood sugar, energizing your cells, and transforming your habits. So that's our reset group. And I have so many amazing clients. Oh, Marie, she did such a great, she just transformed her body and her life. She wanted to get trim for her daughter's wedding, and she started with reset and then followed on with my detox program. And there's Peggy, yay Peggy, there's Brenda. So next Wednesday, I'll have my intro call. Even if you're just interested in learning more, you can join the intro call. Just ask whoever invited you to send you the Zoom link, and you can join the intro call to learn about how it works and what support you get. So that's the first phase if you're in the craving mode. Then what we do, and maybe you're not in the craving mode, you've already changed a lot of your habits. You want to just dive deeper like I did when I went to Sonavive. Now, let me see, I'm going to talk about Sonavive here. Oh, and let's see, now I've got to share my screen. This is a video about Sonavive. It's, as I said, it's in Rosarita, Mexico. It's just about an hour from the border. It's beautiful. Every room has a oceanfront view. There are amazing swimming pools that are all salt water. The food is amazing. They have hyperbaric oxygen. Of course, they do a lot of lab testing. They have lots of exercise programs. It's just in a beautiful, serene setting, and it's transformative. I've been there many, many times. I think I'm up to about 15th time. And the thing is, not everybody, I understand, has an opportunity to go to Sonavive. So I actually created a program escape here, a program that is based on the 7-day detox program that I did at Sonavive. And so this is the next step for you, is the detox and renew. So these are the pools, just amazing pools. And it's based on functional medicine. So this is also how we want to think differently. You might be suffering from fatigue or allergies or brain fog or weight gain. That's what we kind of label it. But what's really happening under the surface are all the terrain, what is feeding our cells, our diet, how much inflammation we have, processed food, sleep deprivation, nutrient deficiency, digestive imbalance. These are all the things that are contributing to what you're seeing as an outward expression. And this is what I changed in the last 3 months, that I just was able to release the 10 pounds that I just never thought I ever would, by really zoning in on the things in my life that I had to really go deeper with. And so the Revitalize Renew Digestive Detox Program is 4 weeks. It's an online digital course to release weight, belly bloat, boost energy, and support immunity. And it has shopping lists and meal plans and a recipe book. And it's something that can help you go that next step. And I will put, I think I have this. I'll just put this is, let's see if I got, oh no, I think I have that. This is from my website again, that you can go to my drkarenwolf.org and go under programs and find out a little bit more about it. These are not live Zoom calls. It's a 4-week program, and when I work with my clients, you certainly get a call with me every week. But you watch recorded videos, so you learn what to do and what not to do, and you look at the recipe book, and there's quizzes and handouts, and yes, there's a Facebook group. So maybe I did it here. Let's see. Ah, there we go. I can put this in. Just if you just want to know more about it, I'm going to copy and paste this in the chat here. Tick, 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 tick. Here we go. So, and you can save the chat by pushing that little, those little 3 dots, and you can save the chat so that you have all these links, or just copy the links. Okay. So here's how the 4 weeks go. Remember, week 1 is preparing for the detox, implementing the detox, deepening the detox, maintaining momentum. So it's something that you have for life. And again, we do our reflections every week. We evaluate the level of inflammation in your body because it shows up different places for different people. And we use the 4 R's. I say we because Dr. Deb Kern and myself created this program together, and we were in our 7-day detox in May together. It's always great to have a buddy to do this with. So remove inflammatory triggers, kind of what we talked about earlier, but applying it in our life, replacing digestive enzymes, nutrients, whole foods, re-inoculating our microbiome, and resetting our bodies. So that's how it works. So we covered this a little, removing these things, replacing digestive enzymes, vitamin D, skincare products, re-inoculating our microbiome, and resetting our body. So this is the rest of your life. This is something that we just keep improving and improving, because we've all got ways to go. We're all on this wellness continuum, and who knew it would take me this time to be able to find a new rhythm for myself. So there's always a chance, and I know it can be frustrating, but doing a program like this will really help you identify what might be holding on to that weight. And I'm so proud of the new recipe book that we created. It's absolutely beautiful and simple. So important. Simple. Optimal Wellness Blueprint Recipe Book. So some of them just have 3 ingredients. It's that simple. I never buy store-bought salad dressings. You always want to make your own, because the store-bought have lots of chemicals, which create inflammation. Yes. Now, here's a little extra. If you happen to be a wellness professional that's interested in learning more about functional nutrition, and you love what I'm talking about with this Sonavive Medical Institute and the detox program, there is brand new a digital certification as a Sonavive nutrition advisor. So exciting. And it's based on all the principles of Sonavive, and there are 10 modules, and it covers really high-level nutrition topics like nutrition in today's world, digestive wellness, detoxification, healthy weight loss, lifestyle changes for better health, women's health. And once you do the certification, you are then eligible to do the detox program I did at half price. So if this is like a next part of what you might be interested in, like talk to whoever invited you to this webinar. Again, not for everybody, but what an opportunity to be able to go to do that. So I'm glad, look, I told you I would be finished by about 10 till, which I am. So I always like to end my webinars by saying, of all the things you've learned, and I'm interested if you could put in the chat box, if you're a 1, a 2, or a 3, or maybe you don't know, but something might have drawn you in your interest. So if you could put in the chat box, what is one action you're ready to take today? Are you a 1? You're interested in knowing more about the 5-day reset and release for sugar cravings. Or 2, 4-week digestive detox. Like, I really need that. Or 3, I'm really interested in that nutrition advisor certification. Then just put that in the chat box so that I can see that. And I'm going to answer any questions you have. So I'm going to go back up to Raj, who asked a question in the food list. Where does lentils fit? Well, it's interesting you should ask that, because in my discharge plan from my 7-day detox, because they give you a whole discharge book, in fact, it's a whole binder that's mind body section, a diet nutrition section, all the labs that I did. They recommended lentils to me. Lentils are very good whole food. They're a good mixture of carbohydrates and fats, different responses in different people, but they are a healthy protein to have, especially, of course, if you're a vegetarian. So, any other questions? Let's see. I'm going to stop sharing now. Any other questions? Just pop them in the chat for me. I'm happy to answer any. And let's see. Do you include beans in canned foods that are no-nos? Yeah, I do, Barbara. Yeah, I do. Because any canned foods, even beans, they've added something for longevity and shelf life. So, and that could be the one thing. That's what I mean by working with clients. Like, really got to zone in and getting into the weeds a bit about what's a one thing. Like for me, it was those Quest chips that we might need to eliminate. So, and I know it's a pain to have to soak beans and make them yourself, but I do include canned beans, uh, definitely, as one of the things that I would eliminate. Nutrition advisor certification, excited about this, Beverly. Yes, absolutely. I am too. It's something I've been working hard on. This webinar was very informative. Oh, good. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Now, you all know what BIG stands for. That's all you have to remember from this is the blood sugar fluctuations, the inflammation, and the gut health imbalances. And it's not an easy fix. And as I said at the top of the hour, GLP-1 injections that I have to talk about because everybody's talking about them. I'm not against them if that's one of the adjuncts to helping someone get on the right path, but not for life. And you don't want to do anything that does not involve lifestyle change as well. So I wish programs like this would be joined with any of those weight loss drugs so that people actually followed a lifestyle plan that they continue on. And I do have some nurse practitioners that work with me. They do offer the GLP-1 injections, but they have them start the digestive detox program first so that they get started with lifestyle and recipes and shopping lists. They change some behaviors before they take the injection. So I'm very holistic and open-minded in working with whatever works. Of course, there are side effects of those GLP-1s, and I know about the side effects and I educate about the side effects. But the truth is, many people are taking them. And that concerns me that they're not also offering lifestyle adjustments as well. So I don't see any other questions. Thank you for joining me. It's my pleasure to offer this. The recording will be available. You'll all get a copy of the recording. And I will, let's see, I'm going to stop the recording now. Stop the